Hello everyone, today we got to play at Lancaster. So this game is essentially you're defending England or you're trying to, not
Yeah,
defense, but you're in England, you're hanging out, you're doing
the
some
year
stuff.
is 1413, and new King of England Henry V of Lancaster pursues ambitious plans for the unification of England and the conquest of the French crown.
So we're going after France. All right. But before we get started, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell because you love board games. And hopefully we'll see you guys soon, either at Gen Con or here on the channel. So don't forget to hit the subscribe button. All right, Randy, tell us more about Lancaster.
So Lancaster was originally released in 2011. This is the big box edition, and this one was released in 2015. Lancaster has a rank of 373 currently on Board Game Geek. It has a rating of 7.4. Plays 2 to 5 players. Average length of 60 minutes. Age is 10 and up. That's probably about right. The design was done by Matthias Kramer. Artists were Martin Hoffman and Klaus Stefan. Published by Queen Games. It's out of print currently, but I can see it on Board Game Geek's Geek Market for roughly $75 is what it's going for, which isn't bad for a big box edition. It contains in the big box the base Lancaster and then the expansions of Lancaster Henry V Power of the King. There's an extra reward tiles and extra new laws that were in the box as well.
Okay, cool beans. All right, so let's talk about quality of pieces. So you have these wooden knight markers. Depending on the strength of the knight, is how large the wooden piece is. I would say okay.
Well, the big thing
they got stickers on them, so
I had to put the stickers on them, and the stickers were not sticky at all.
Oh no!
Of course, now it's sat in the box downstairs for quite some time before I put the stickers on. To be fair, but they basically fell right off. I mean, I had to press and press and press to get them to stay on, and they probably will still fall off because there's not much sticky on the stickers. And the stickers were tearing as I was pulling them off. So that one has nothing to do with the stickiness or how long it sat. It was just not cut well.
Yeah, so not very thin. You have these battle tiles, cardboard. These are actually pretty okay. Same thing with the rest of the player boards and the sideboards. I think as far as quality of cardboard thickness, I think it's fine. And then
some cubes and wooden meeples.
Some wooden cubes, some squires. I'm not really sure why they look like squires. They almost look like 1920s.
They look like urns. Maybe they all died.
That would explain a lot. There are squires. So, and then your standard cardboard money. Nothing too fancy here. There's nothing that. Oh, well, and you do got the little player screens, the little castles. Those are actually kind of cool. But they are pretty flimsy. I'm probably going to end up giving this a 6 because the only thing really,
it's
there's
got
nothing
a board.
great in
The
here.
board has a linen finish, which is nice, but it does not sit flat. I think a 6 is a fair score for it. It's nothing exciting.
All right, so talking about theme, we kind of already touched base of it in the intro that basically you're going after France and you're trying to build up your armies and, be the biggest helper in England. Theme-wise, I think it's good. You go to different places. You're trying to get nobles. You're trying to pass laws, but yet you're still trying to gather up an army to go fight. And there's like this balancing of act. Do I focus on attacking? But if you're focusing on attacking, you don't have time to build up your armies. So it's just kind of there's a nice subtlety that you've got to figure out in this game that I could appreciate. And the fact that your troops do stay in battle from round to round, I think there's a lot of interesting components as far as theme goes. I would probably give this theme a 7.5 because it has a lot of functionality, but I don't think there's anything that's like, yeah, this is great. What about you?
You're a lot more generous than I am on it. It feels layered on to me. Yes,
really?
it does integrate a little bit into the actions of the gameplay, but it's still just placing things on a board and taking an action wherever you place them. The art is not bad, but it's not great either. I'm probably more of a 6.5. There's nothing real outstanding about the theme, and it's certainly very flimsy as far as the story. You get one paragraph. There's
Yeah,
not
that's
a lot
true.
of backstory on it, so I think 6.5 is where I'm at.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about actual rules. So you read the rules.
Yeah, it's not a very difficult game. When I got it out, it was 20-page rule book, which was intimidating. But the reason it's 20 pages is because it incorporates all of the expansions.
Okay.
So, and there's actually 3 rule books in the box because you have different languages. But the actual rules for just the base of Lancaster only take to page 7. So it really wasn't bad at all. It's done similar to, it doesn't have the sidebars like the Ilia series does, but it's got color-coded segments in it, which is really nice. There's no cover on it. It goes straight into the components. I think it does a good job. I'll give it a 7.5 as far as the rules and explanations. The one thing that it doesn't do, which really cheeses me on these big box games, is it has a really nice insert for storing things, but it doesn't tell you where anything goes. So
You have to guess.
You have to guess where they all go. Now, I've got
Tetris puzzle. It's a game after the game.
Yes, I know. I don't know how we're going to put it away because I don't know where anything goes. I think El Grande actually has a big sheet that takes up the whole sides of the box that tells you where everything goes in the box. I don't know why they didn't do that for this because it's the same company.
Yeah, well, maybe you'll just look it up.
No,
online.
actually, no. El Grande is Rio Grande, I think, but it's the same size box.
All right, so you've got that one on your brain.
I know. I love the game.
You've been talking about that.
I love that game. I got it out and brought it halfway up the stairs, and I'm like, no, let's play this because it's better with more players, and we only had 3.
Okay, so then let's talk about actual gameplay. So gameplay is pretty straightforward. You end up starting with 2 workers, a 1 and a 2. Yay! Strength. And so in the process of the game, you're going to place your workers. Now, the modifying for the strength, just like in different games like Castles of Burgundy and things like that, you do have modifiers for the strength, and that are the actual squires. Only on the England spaces. So if you go to battle, the squires don't count, but while you're in town, the squires do, or in the country, they do. So you place the squires with them to actually go to the places that you may not necessarily have the strength off first off. So then depending on the strength, you have different locations that you are capable of going to. You go there. You do not take the action immediately. You wait until all the placement is done, and then you get the opportunity to take those actions.
Not right away. You still wait.
Right, you still wait. Yes, you do the laws next, which I think is kind of backwards. Just saying. I didn't actually appreciate that.
Well, yeah, it definitely makes the strategy weird because some of the laws that pertain to the things that are happening on the board. So you almost have to do the laws first because you wouldn't have the actions. But then there's times where it would have benefited you to get the actions before on the board to help you with the laws. So it's kind of a catch-22. One way or the other, you're going to get hosed. So you just got to kind of go in.
I just feel like, okay, in the beginning of the round, you see what's available, you finish that round knowing what's up there, and then you basically determine what's going on in the next round.
But the voting wouldn't have nearly as much significance then. I mean, you would be voting for what's going to happen in a subsequent round where you don't have already your actions taken.
Yeah, well, okay, we're kind of diverting from how to play. So anyway, you end up placing all of your workers. You go around in player order. So a couple of actions, like I said, is going to some of the England spaces, which allow you to either gain influence from that particular noble that you're at, or take the actual action item, or you can play the 3 corns to do both of those.
3 corns?
3 coins.
Okay. Or corn. There's no corn in this game. Just play coins.
Unless you got some ears of corns in your fridge, then you
if your opponents like corn, maybe they'll let you pay it. I don't know.
All right. So, or the other action is you can actually take it on the attack. So you'll notice this one, you have a strength that you're trying to achieve. If you were the most with that strength, you get this many victory points. 2nd place and 3rd place is also on there. However, when you do that, you also take one of the tiles here. You get that special thing that is on those tiles. But however, if you don't succeed at that battle, you get another round. So it just goes down and it holds.
Or you get partial credit. You get the victory points from the 2nd and 3rd position still, but you don't get first. So first becomes 2nd in that case.
Right. But in that instance, like you are so your guys are still in battle. So I thought that part I thought was a good thematically wise is that you just whatever you have.
And then
2
if
rounds.
that battle loses, then your knight gets kidnapped, and you have to pay a ransom.
Yeah,
to France.
To France. I actually thought that was actually really cool thematically. It made the attacking more kind of interesting in my viewpoint. So those are kind of the actions that are available.
I know you've got your castle board too.
Oh yeah, I didn't actually do any actions on my castle board. I'm not going to lie to you. So again, at the beginning of the game, you only have one location that you end up picking on your castle. But as you upgrade your castle, you'll have additional options. Those are basically more resource generation than some of the other
there's safe
stuff.
actions, because the thing that you didn't mention is whenever you play on England, someone can outbid you for that space and boot you off.
Right.
So if someone plays a stronger knight or plays a stronger combination of knights and the squires to the space you're on, you get removed. Your squires do not. They get kicked out. They're sent to their urns. So they're then removed from the board, and the person usurps you. So you've got to be careful when you're playing onto the board, because you may or may not end up getting it. But you do get that knight back to take another action if you do get bumped.
Yeah. So once all your workers are placed, then you guys vote on the rules. So we only have the 3 current rules out, but 3 more will be on here, and you'll say, okay, 1, we'll either do a check or a minus, but you do have influence token. These influence tokens are based upon how many of the gentry that you have got on your council. And so you use those to vote in and out laws. So if I were to say, hey, I want this law to go through, and I add 2 of those units, then actually my vote's worth 3 versus his 1x. So that ensures that vote does in fact go through. But what's interesting about this is that it just doesn't replace the one above it. The one slides over, and that new one comes up forward. And so always the oldest law gets removed. So just kind of keep that in mind. So because that kind of normally you think you would just replace up and above, and that's not the case.
No, you try to replace the ones that you think are going to not benefit you as much as they benefit your opponents, which I thought was a neat mechanic in the game. It was very unique to this game.
Yeah, and I'm not really sure I like that particular piece, actually. So, I mean, it's different. I'm not sure I liked it very much, but that's not to say. So after the rules get placed, and then you actually resolve everything on the board, you take all those actions, and it's pretty straightforward, and then the next round. And so you can do that until all the battle tokens are gone, and then that's the end of round, and then you score victory points. And obviously the person with the most victory points wins the game. Yay! So I actually really like this game. There's a lot of things about it that I appreciated, but I really do like quick replacements. But this battle I could get behind, because I just need strength. Mm-hmm. And even if I didn't get it that round, I could always get it next round. I really appreciated that. I don't know about you. What did you think?
I like the mechanics of it. Actually, my favorite part was the laws. That was my favorite part, because I liked
Really?
Yeah.
I liked voting for the laws. I just didn't like voting for the laws like before the previous laws triggered.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole point, is you want to try to make sure you manipulate the laws. And I thought that was the most fun part to me. I loved when your dad dropped like all of his support into that one that was actually what I wanted anyway.
We all did.
That was awesome. Yes. I'm like, why would he do that? But okay, he got rid of all of his cubes, so now he's pretty much defenseless on the other laws.
Yeah, because the thing about my dad, he actually basically had almost all of the advisors, so he got plenty of cubes throughout the game. Where like you didn't focus nearly
till the very end.
Yeah, till the very end.
I was focused on building up my military, and then I kept your dad kept ousting me just to be a butt, I think, and I ended up having to come back and figure out.
Well, to be fair, you were kind of a butt to me, so
only in the last round.
No, there were several opportunities that you totally messed with me. So there is a little bit of take that in the game, but it's not bad. I was okay with it. Like I was like, this isn't.
Yeah, I mean, it has enough player interaction without being a screw your opponent game.
Right, exactly. That's I'm fine with that. That's a good mediocre. Yeah. So, are you ready to give this game a score?
I think so. I mean, I came in kind of knowing what I thought of it.
Well, what's the score?
Well, my favorite part of the game is the fact that I was 5 points ahead of everybody else.
Listen, you stole those 5 points, so just continue on.
But that's what I liked about it, is that you could do that. Like, you can have someone, you're in the military and you're fighting against France and they think you're going to help them, and you decide, no, I've sacrificed a level 1 knight, no big deal. And
I can't believe you did that.
I thought it was an amazing play. I ended up getting a lot more points the way I did it.
Yeah, well, you ended up knocking me out, which I ended up still winning, so I mean, it was fine.
Well, you won that, but overall. So there was that, and then, as far as trying to figure out how to maximize, because at the end you do get bonuses for the largest military, the most castle elements you've built, and that's where I really took advantage at the end, was taking all of those.
I think since I went into battle first, that kind of tied up my people more than it should have. I mean, I didn't get I maybe should have waited on that.
I like the fact that it was balanced, because my fear was that this track of getting all of the advisors was going to be way more powerful than all the others, because it scores more points if you can get all of them, and your dad almost got all of them, but in the end, we're all right together. It's not like one of us ran away with the game. And I like the fact that, you can play somewhere, but somebody can, if they really want that space, bump you out.
The only thing I wish there was, I almost feel like, okay, if you didn't go, if a battle didn't get conquered, there almost should have been a penalty. I feel like, because you didn't.
Well, there is a penalty. You have to pay for your knight, or else you lose.
No. For the battles that no one went after.
There's no penalty for one rolling off.
Yeah, that's where I was like, I feel like maybe there should have been something for that. I don't know.
Yeah. But all in all, I think this is, I would give this probably a 7.5 is where I'm at. I think it's a solid game. There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, obviously it's well liked. It wouldn't be in the top 500 games after 10 years if it weren't something that was pretty well liked.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. 7.5 is actually really good for this game. It's a pretty solid game. I really enjoyed it. I would definitely play it again. There's additional expansions to play with this, right?
Yeah, there's 2 new sets of laws to add, which is really cool. Then there's the whole King, the Favor or Power of the King expansion, which is at least 2 pages of the book. So I'm
wondering if that will give you penalties based on.
I don't know. It adds another board or 2 to the side.
I'd be interesting. I'm excited to see what that looks like.
But yeah, I'm excited to try it. I mean, I've had this on the shelf forever, and I knew it was a well-regarded game, but never got it out because I just always had something else we were wanting to play.
There's so many games, guys.
Yeah, there's so many more.
So many games. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. We had an absolute blast, and hopefully we'll see you guys later. Bye.
Bye.